Yeah, after the completion of paper 1, let's see paper 2. Here this paper it starts with D block and F block elements, F and D block elements. Now question number 49, D4 species Cr plus 2 is a strong reducing while manganese plus 3 is a strongly oxidizing. Whether it is true or not we'll see. Chromium 4s1 3d5, Cr plus 2 it will be 3d4. If it is converted to Cr plus 3, it can be converted to 3d3. Now it is going to be T2G3 Eg0, half-filled electronic configuration. Hence it is highly stable. It can undergo oxidation. Therefore Cr plus 2 is a good reducing agent. Next, option B. Option B. Higher oxidation state of, and manganese also we'll see, manganese Mn plus 3. Mn plus 3 it will be having 4s2 3d5 now manganese, and in this it is going to be D4 configuration 3d4. If it is added by 1 electron it can be converted to Mn plus 2, which means 3d5 it will get. Stable electronic configuration. It undergoes reduction, therefore it acts as an oxidizing agent. So statement A is true. Statement B. Higher oxidation state of transitional metals are stable in their oxides and fluorides. Yes, true. All transitional metals as well as inner transitional metals are gets stable in fluorides as well as the oxides. Due to lanthanide contraction, yttrium and lanthanum is almost same. Absolutely not. Yttrium and lanthanum are not having the lanthanide contraction. They are not involved in lanthanide contraction. Option D. D block elements shows variable oxidation state. Yes, true. D block elements, not only D block elements but also F block elements also can show. Therefore A, B and D are true. Question number 50. For a solution of ammonium acetate, which of the following expressions is or correct? Ammonium acetate, CH3COONH4 plus H2O gives rise to, or we can write this one as CH3CO minus plus NH4 plus. H2O gives rise to, it forms CH3COOH plus NH4OH. Now it is going to be C. 0, 0, C minus CH, C minus CH, CH, CH. Now KH is equals to concentration of acetic acid, CH3COOH, into concentration of NH4OH divided by concentration of CH3COO minus and the concentration of NH4 plus. Here the concentration of CH3COOH is equals to NH4OH because here it is true, as well as CH3COO minus concentration is equals to NH4 plus concentration. Therefore here it is going to be CH3COOH whole square divided by CH3COO minus whole square, and CH3COOH whole square it will be CH whole square divided by C square into 1 minus H whole square. Now this will be the C square, here C square gets cancelled. Now square root of KH is equals to H divided by 1 minus H, which implies that H is equals to square root of square root KH divided by 1 plus square root KH. Therefore option B is going to be true. And even if we adjust that one, here we will get KH is equals to KW divided by KA into KB. That is also going to be true. Now the thing is, option A we have to prove. For this option A, as we know that CH3COOH gives rise to CH3COO minus plus H plus. Ka is equals to concentration of CH3CO minus into concentration of H plus divided by concentration of CH3CO OH. Now which implies that concentration of H plus is equals to Ka into concentration of CH3COOH divided by CH3COO minus. But CH3COH divided by CH3COO minus, that is equals to how much that value? That this value is equals to CH3COH divided by CH3COO minus. Here if you look at CH3COOH whole square divided by CH3COO minus, that is equals to actually KH equal to CH3COH whole square divided by CH3CO minus whole square. But CH3COH divided by CH3CO minus equal to square root of KH, which implies that concentration of H plus is equals to K into square root KH, which implies that concentration of H plus is equals to K into KW divided by Ka into Kb. Now square root Ka gets cancelled, which implies that concentration of H plus is equals to square root of Ka into Kw divided by Kb. Now pH is equals to, from this, if we take the pH value from this, pH of the solution, for this if you write the pH is equals to pKa plus 1 divided by pKh. pOH of the solution increases with increase in the concentration of the ammonium acetate. Actually for this if you write the pH is equals to 7 plus 1 divided by 2 pKa minus pKb. Here there is no concentration term at all. Even in here also, concentration of H plus depends upon the Ka, Kw as well as the Kb. It is not depending upon either H plus ion or OH minus ion. H plus ion, OH minus ion term or concentration term which is not involved here. Therefore, it is not going to be depend on that. Such that options are going to be A, B and C. Next, paragraph questions 53 and 53 to 54. In the start of summer, a given sample of milk turns sour at room temperature 27 degrees Celsius in 48 hours. In a refrigerator at 2 degrees Celsius, milk can be stored 3 times longer before it sours, which means K 300 Kelvin divided by K 275 is equals to 3, because the 3 times they were already mentioned. As we know that log 300 divided by 275 is equals to A divided by 2.303 into 25 divided by 3 into 1 by 275 minus 1 divided by 300. Activation energy EA, if we calculate it from this, it will come out as 30.29 kilojoules per. Welcome. This is question number 53. Comes to question number 54. The time taken by the milk to soar at 37 degrees Celsius. We have at 27 degrees Celsius. At 37 degrees Celsius, as we know that the ratio between the rate constants, or the ratio between the two rate constants which are differ by 10 degrees Celsius is known as, what was that? Temperature coefficient. That is, Kt plus 10 divided by Kt is equals to temperature coefficient, which is also denoted with 5. Now, let's calculate that one. First of all, let us calculate like this. Log 300 divided by 310 is 310 divided by 300 is equals to activation energy we know 30.29 into 10 cube divided by 2.303 into 25 divided by 3, 1 by 300 minus 1 divided by 310. this value is going to come out, and that value will come out as K310 divided by 300. I was calculated with the calculator. I'm telling, I'm extremely sorry for this because the calculation is very much ridiculous. I'm not hesitating to say that, which implies that K310 is equals to K300 into 1.47. That is equals to K300 1.47 into 48. Therefore, that is equals to 32.6. 32.6 kilojoules. So that is going to be the value of this one, because K310 we can K310 we calculated, K at K300 that we already know. K300 we can calculate, that is also little bit big process that we have already seen that. Next question in next one, paragraph 53, 54, next one 55, 56. In this question they have given 55 and 56 question. In this 3CH3 CH2OH plus 16H plus 3CH3 COOH plus 4Cr3 plus 11H2. 11H2O. Breath analyzer is used to detect the alcohol content in the suspected drunk drivers. The ethanol is exhaled. Breath is oxidized to ethanoic acid with an acidic K2Cr2O7. The breath analyzer measures the color change and produces a meter reading calibrated in terms of the blood alcohol content, which means whenever breath analyzer is used, whenever an alcohol drinker exhales, obviously the alcohol content will be transferred to the breath analyzer. In breath analyzer they will put K2Cr2O7. That K2Cr2O7 is going to be oxidize the alcohol into the acetic acid. Now actually this as we all know that K2Cr2O7 along with the Cr2O7 2 minus, this is in which color? Orange color. And this orange color will be converted to, as we all know that Cr plus 3 aqueous, this is going to be green color. If it turns to the green color, then he is a drunk. He already drunk. This is such a simple thing. They are asking about the E0 cell. So E0 cell is equals to, I already mentioned you can construct the cell, or you can do one thing. From higher SRP value to lower SRP value, that's it. That is going to be the E0 cell or E cell. 1.33 minus 0.06 is equals to 1.27 volts. Next, question number 56. The EMF of the reaction when the concentration of the all species are 1 molar and pH is 4. pH is equals to 4. Concentration of H plus is equals to 10 power minus 4. Remaining all concentrations are going to be 1 molar, which means QC is equals to concentration of Cr plus 3 whole power 4 into concentration of CH3COOH whole cube divided by concentration of CH3CH2OH whole cube into concentration of H plus power 16. They have given that H plus concentration only 10 power minus 4, remaining all of them are going to be 1, such that 1 divided by 10 power minus 4 over 16, that is equals to 16 fours are 10 power 64. And now how many electrons are get transferred? When Cr2O7 2 minus converted to Cr plus 3, how many electrons are transferred? 6. But here 2 Cr2O7 2 minus converted to 4 Cr3 plus. Here number of electron transferred are 12. Now we have to calculate EMF of the cell. E cell is equals to E0 cell minus 0.06 divided by N log QC. Now E naught cell value we know 1.27 minus 0.06 divided by 12 log 10 power 64, which implies that 1.27 minus 64 into 0.06 divided by 12, and here the answer will come out as approximately some 0.95 volts. 0.95 volts. If you want, you can check with this one, check the calculation, then you will get the answer. It's very simple. Like first they asked E naught cell. E naught cell, you can construct the cell. What is oxidation half cell and what is the reduction half cell? From that you can do, or else you can take one thing we have already mentioned in the class, which means higher SRP value minus lower SRP value always gives the E naught cell. Sir, if E naught cell comes negative, therefore obviously that cell is definitely wrong. So you have done wrong. So if you get the positive E naught cell value, then only that cell is possible or spontaneous. And next one they clearly mentioned, remaining all concentrations are unimolar and this is going to be changed. Therefore we have done that one. Next, question number 59, integer questions. Question number 59, integer questions. If a solid A plus B minus having ZnS structure, what is ZnS structure? What is ZnS structure? CCP, which is also known as FCC structure. S2 minus ions participate in packing, which means 8 into 1 divided by A2 plus 6 into 1 divided by 2, that is equals to 4. 4 S2 minus ions are present. Zn plus 2 ions are present in alternate tetrahedral voids. How many tetrahedral voids will be present? 4. Instead of that, what they are asking, instead of Zn plus 2 you put A plus, instead of S2 minus you put B minus. Right? Now, what they are mentioning? Yeah. The structure is heated so that ions along the two of the axis passing through the phase centers are lost and bivalent negative ion Z enters here to maintain the electrical neutrality. Now we will see. Now I am drawing this cell, unit cell. Here where B minus ions are present, here B minus ions are present. Where these B minus ions are present, here phase centers as well as the corners, these B minus ions are going to be present. Whereas A plus ions where they are present, A plus ions are going to be present at the alternate tetrahedral voids. Something like this, alternate tetrahedral voids. Now what I am doing here, I am passing like this as well as like this. I am passing two phase centers, I am passing two axes like this. Now how many phase centers are going to be gone? 4 phase centers are going to be gone. Therefore, how many of them are left? B minus, how many of the B minus are left and how many A plus are going to be left? We will see. B minus, nothing, no harm to the corners, 8 into 1 by 8 plus 4 are lost, remaining 2 are present, 2 into 1 divided by 2, therefore 2 B minus. How many A plus are present? All A plus are present because nothing is happened to the tetrahedral voids. If you pass through the phase centers, nothing will happen. Here 2 B minus are present and 4 A plus are present. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality, bivalent Z, how many are needed? Only one is needed because here it is carrying 4 plus, right? It is carrying 2 minus. In order to maintain the electrical neutrality, how much I needed? Only Z, another one is needed. Therefore, the formula is going to be A4, B2, Z. Now, they are asking 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is equals to 7. So, here the main content or the major content is, what is the structure of sodium chloride? You have to remember. What is the structure of KCl? Sodium chloride is which type? CCP type. What is the structure of KCl? CCP type or FCC type. What is the structure of CaCl? You need to remember body centered cubic. What is the structure of ZnS? Yes, CCP, but here tetrahedral whites. These are presented the tetrahedral whites. Diamond. What is the structure of the diamond? Same CCP. Is it right or not? So it is definitely mandatory to remember the structures of those compounds. It is which is very much mandatory to remember those structure of compounds. Next, question number 60. How many of the following compounds do not contain unpaired electrons? KO2 minus. KO2 minus is nothing but O2 minus. It definitely contains one unpaired electron. Sir, how can you know? Molecular orbital theory. Write the molecular orbital electronic configuration. It contains one unpaired electron. NO2. It contains one unpaired electron. Write the structure according to valency bond theory. Next, SO2, sulfur dioxide, has no zero unpaired electrons according to valency bond theory or hybridization. Yes, double bond O, one pair of electrons are present. Two electrons are present. One pair, two electrons are present, or zero unpaired electrons. That is what I mean to say. One unpaired electron or two electrons, which means pair of electrons are present. Next, BaO2. BaO2, it will be O2 2 minus. How many unpaired electrons are present? Zero. This is almost which is equals to N2 type. It is a diamagnetic in character. Superoxide is paramagnetic and it is colored. Peroxide is not going to be colored. It is uncolored compound as well as the diamagnetic in nature. Now zero electrons are present according to molecular orbital theory. Next, ClO2. How many unpaired electrons are present? One unpaired electron present according to valency bond theory or hybridization. Next, O2. How many unpaired electrons are present? Two unpaired electrons are present according to molecular orbital theory, and it is paramagnetic in nature. Square root of 2 into 2 plus 2. Check once. NO. One unpaired electron is present according to, yes, valency bond theory, or you can write according to MOT also. Both will work out for this, because nitrogen 7, oxygen is going to be 8, overall 15 electrons. Definitely you would get the one unpaired electrons. It is nothing different or no different from the O2 minus, and it is colored also. N2O. No unpaired electrons are present according to valency bond theory. Next, O3, no unpaired electrons are present according to valency bond theory. Carbon monoxide, no unpaired electrons according to valency bond theory. What according to, which means from that theory you can write those structures. Now, who are not having SO2 is also not having, which means zero unpaired electrons are one pair. BaO2 is not having, N2 is not having, O3 is not having, CO is not having unpaired electrons. SO2 is having one pair of electrons, but they are asking unpaired electrons. Therefore, this is going to be, what is the answer? 5. 60. 61. 61. How many of the following compounds give gas on heating, which turns moist blue to litmus red? BaCO3, moist blue to red. Blue to red is an acid. Blue to red is an acid. BaCO3 upon heating definitely gives BaO plus CO2. Therefore, carbon dioxide is an acidic gas. MgCO3 same. MgO plus CO2, carbon dioxide gas, acidic. NH4 HCO3 upon heating gives rise to, what does it form here? It forms NH3 plus H2O plus CO2. I need this acidic gas, which is there. Ammonium carbonate, NH4 taken twice CO3 upon heating gives NH3, 2 moles of ammonia plus CO2, carbon dioxide gas. MgNO3 taken twice upon heating gives magnesium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen gas. Nitrogen dioxide. This is where you have to be really careful. MgCl2 6H2O Upon heating, it lost 4 water molecules. Now MgCl2 2H2O will form, which is upon heating it is going to form MgOH taken twice plus 2Hc. That is why in order to prepare a magnesium chloride, we will heat magnesium chloride in the current of HCl gas. Therefore you can get the MgCl2. There also, this is also will give acidic gas. CaSO4 upon strong heating, it gives calcium oxide plus sulfur dioxide, acidic. Ammonium dichromate, just now we have seen ammonium dichromate, NH4 taken twice Cr2O7, which upon heating it gives N2 gas plus Cr2O3 plus H2O. This is not, no acidic gas is present in it. Nitrogen is not acidic. SrO3, SrCO3, sorry. Upon heating gives SrO plus CO2, acidic gas. So how many of them will give acidic gas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the whole, it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. 8 will give acidic gases. Therefore, that is going to be an option is going to be 8 for that particular question. Now, question number 62. Question number 62. In this question number 62, a mixture of nitrogen and hydrogen, N2 plus 3H2, both of them are reacting to form 2 moles of NH3. Here they clearly mentioned that N2 and H2, both of them are reacting in a ratio of 1:3. Therefore, one is going to be X and another one is going to be some 3X. 0 at time t equal to 0. At equilibrium state, I am writing x minus y, 3x minus 3y, and it is going to be 2y. And they mentioned that it attains equilibrium when 50% of the mixture has reacted. 50% of the reaction, 50% of the mixture has reacted. Yeah, from this here they were already mentioned that 50% of the mixture has reacted. So 50% of the mixture which is reacted, it means how much it is reacted, that is the initial mixture was x plus 3x divided by 2, 50%. How much it is reacted? Y plus 3y. Therefore that is equals to 2x is equals to 4y and x is equals to 2y. X equals to 2y. Now substitute 2y, y. And this is going to be 3 2s are 6, 3y, and this is going to be 2y. Now partial pressure of ammonia. Partial pressure of ammonia, P of NH3 is equals to mole fraction of ammonia into total pressure P. Mole fraction of ammonia 2y divided by y plus 3y plus 2y into P. That is equals to P divided by 3, 2y, 6y. So P divided by 3. Hence, they are asking what they were mentioned here. It is going to be so P divided by y. Therefore, here that value is going to be. So here the only point you have to break is this one. Out of the initial 50% is reacted. Initial is 4x. 4x divided by 2 is equals to y plus 3y, because this is reacted. 50% of it is reacted. Therefore, reacted is equals to 50% of the original content. So on that basis, we solve this one. Now, question number 63. Yeah, I guess this is peanut question for you. The degeneracy of first excited state of hydrogen. The first excited state of the hydrogen atom, n equal to 1, n equals to 2, n equals to 3. This is going to be ground state and it is a first excited state. or second energy state. First excited state, it is going to be second orbit. In second orbit it will be 2s and 2p, but in 2p we will be having 2px, 2py and 2pz. Therefore 1 2s orbital, 2px, 2py as well as the 2pz orbitals. On the whole it is going to be 4. Next, question number 64. What will be the volume strength of 100 ml H2O2? 100 ml H2O2 required to react completely with 61 ml of KMnO4 in acidic medium. Given that 61 ml of KMnO4 reacts completely with 5 ml of 1 molar K4FeCl6. So given that MnO4 minus, which is reacting with K4FeCN taken 6 times, and it is going to give you Mn plus 2 here, and they were already mentioned Fe plus 2 is converting into Fe plus 3, C is converting into CO3 2 minus, and N is converting into NO3 minus. And now here we have 6 carbons, put 6 here, here also 6. Now Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. Here how many electrons are transferred? 1 electron, which is okay. Next, 6C4 minus gives rise to 6C3O2 minus. So this is minus 24, and this is going to be 6x is equals to minus 24, 6x minus 36 is equals to minus 12, 6x is equals to plus 24. On the whole, total number of electrons are going to be 48 electrons. Next, 6N3 plus gives rise to 6NO3 minus. Here it will be 18 electrons. 6x is equals to 18 electrons. 6x is equals to how much? This is going to be 6x plus 18 minus 36 minus 6. Therefore 6x is equals to plus. Therefore number of electrons is equals to 12. Therefore total equal to 61 electrons, such that X factor for this is equals to 61. Whereas X factor for this is, this you know very well, 5. Here what is the situation? As we all know that when it is completely reacted, simple equation, that is number of equivalents of KMnO4 is equals to number of equivalents of K4FeCN taken 6 times. Number of equivalents of KMnO4, 61 ml of 61 ml of KMnO4 into its molarity, let it be M. X factor is equals to 5, reacts with 5 ml of 1 molar, its X factor is 61. Therefore this 5 gets cancelled, 61 gets cancelled, therefore molarity is equals to 1. Therefore the molarity of KMnO4 is equals to 1. The same thing will be applied for this one also. No? See what they are mentioning, H2O2 is reacting with KMnO4. Such KMnO4 can react, is completely reacting with K4FeCN6. Therefore, similarly I am taking number of equivalents of H2O2 is equals to number of equivalents of KMnO4. Now number of equivalents of H2O2, 100 into 2 into, because X factor of H2O2 is 2, into molarity M is equals to number of equivalents of KMnO4. How much KMnO4? 61 into its molarity is equals to 1 into its X factor is equals to 5. Now this is going to be molarity M is equals to 61 into 5 divided by 200. But we know that as we know that volume strength is equals to molarity into 11.5. Molarity into 11.5. Now volume strength we know. Molarity 61 into 5 divided by 200 into 11.5. Approximately it will come out as a 17 point change by subtracting 10. Therefore the answer is going to be 7. Once again I am telling you, again this is going to come out around some 17. They are asking answer by subtracting 10 such that 17 minus 10 that is equals to 7 will come out. Next, question number 65. Number of moles of gases evolved when 3/2 moles of inorganic benzene reacts with water is X. That is, first of all, inorganic benzene B3N3H6 plus H2O gives rise to, it gives 3 moles of H3BO3 plus 3 moles of NH3 plus 3 moles of H2. 1 mole will give you 3 moles of ammonia plus 3 moles of H2. 3/2 moles will give you 3 into 3/2 3 into 3/2 plus 3 into 3 divided by 2. Therefore 18, this is going to be 9 divided by 2, 9 divided by 2, that is equals to 3 moles. So 1 mole will give you 3 moles, so 3 moles. Therefore 3/2 moles here. 9. So 1.5 mole. 1 mole will give you 3. 1.5 moles will give you 1 mole will give you 3. 1.5 moles will give you 1.5 into 3. 3/2. 9/2. 9/2 plus 9/2. That's, yeah, right. 9. Next, during the dissolution of lead. 2 sulfide into dilute nitric acid solution, the ratio of instantaneous rate of disappearance of HNO3 to instantaneous rate of appearance of NO is Y. So let's see how much it is going to be. Now let's see. Lead sulfide PbS plus NO3 minus gives rise to, it will give Pb2 plus, there is no change in it, but S2 minus will be converted to S and NO3 minus will be converted to NO. This much you have to remember. NO3 minus converted to NO, here how many number of electrons gets transferred? This is plus 5, that is 2, therefore it is going to be 3. Here this is S minus 2, 2, 2. Yes sir, it will be 2. Now this is 2, this is going to be 2 and it will be 3 Pb2 plus 3S. Now if you change this one, 3 PbS plus, I need here 2 NO is there. Actually 2 nitric acids only will participate in the reaction, but side actors are there, which means here 3 PbNO3 taken twice, 6 plus 2, 8. Therefore 8 HNO3 will come out. Gives rise to 3 PbNO3 taken twice plus 3S plus 2NO plus 4H2. Now you take your reaction, that is rate of disappearance of HNO3 minus 1/8 d by dt of concentration of HNO3 is equals to rate of appearance of NO. Rate of appearance of NO, 1/2 of d by dt of concentration of NO gets cancelled, 4. Therefore that value which is equals to 4. Now they are asking about x plus y. 9 plus 4, that is equals to 13. 13 minus 4, that is equals to 9. The answer is going to be the next, last one, it will be 3 moles, 3/2, 3 by 2, 3 into 9. So, not an issue. 9. Yeah. Last and final one. How many of the following copper compounds are neither black nor white as precipitate? CuI. Cu2 is black. CuI is white. CuOH taken twice. And Cu2O. Yeah. Except these two remaining, all of them are going to be black as well as white. Remember, CuOH taken twice. Question number 66. CuOH taken twice and Cu2. Except these two, remaining all of them are going to be either black or white. So, with this, I guess we have finished FST 7. Hope you have done well. But after answering this paper, the paper looks to be good, promising paper. You have to practice more and need to practice more number of questions, ask more number of doubts. Hope it will helpful for you, and watch the entire videos because we are giving much more content which will be useful for you for the next exam, which means the final exam. Have a nice day. Bye.